The joke was weak, but real. Daniel huffed a small smile. They're good at that. My daughter used to have radar. The second I sat down, she'd scream like it was a personal betrayal. Maya let out a breath that almost became a laugh, quiet, exhausted, but sincere. It softened something around her eyes, a brief flicker of light behind the heavy shadows. The baby slept on, tiny breaths puffing against her uniform collar, blissfully unaware that his mother was holding herself together with fraying threads. I swear, she murmured, tucking the baby's blanket a little tighter, sometimes I think he hates the idea of me resting. Daniel leaned back on the bench, a familiar ache tugging at his shoulders. Rest isn't in their vocabulary. Or mercy. She gave him a look, one that held the kind of tired amusement only two parents who had survived the same war could share. For a few seconds, silence returned. Not the heavy kind from earlier. Not the fragile, breaking kind. A gentler quiet. The kind that sits between two people who understand each other without having to explain why. The heater hummed steadily. Dawn slowly crept deeper into the hallway, painting the floors in muted gold. Somewhere in the distance, a classroom door clicked, echoing faintly. But no one came this far down the hall. It was still their pocket of morning. Maya shifted her shoulders carefully, adjusting the baby's weight. Daniel noticed the strain in her arms, not the physical burden, but the emotional one. The need to keep moving, to keep holding everything steady, to keep pretending she wasn't exhausted to the point of breaking. That he remembered that feeling too well. Was it just you and your daughter? She asked after a moment. No one to help? Daniel nodded slowly. Just me. My wife, she passed when Lily was just a few months old. Maya's eyes softened instantly. I'm so sorry. He waved it off gently, not dismissing the pain but acknowledging the years that had settled over it. It was hard. Still is sometimes. But we managed. A small smile tugged at the corner of his mouth. Kids are stubborn like that. They make you keep going even when you think you can't. Maya stared at him as if searching for something, strength, hope, maybe even answers to questions she didn't know how to ask. Her voice was softer when she spoke again. I don't think I'm as strong as you. Daniel shook his head immediately. You're stronger. Her brows knitted slightly. How do you figure that? He gestured subtly toward the baby. You're doing all this while serving. While carrying expectations. While people think being a soldier makes you invincible. She blinked hard, jaw tightening. Invincible, she echoed bitterly. They love that word. Yeah, Daniel agreed quietly. Right up until you show a crack. Her eyes locked onto his, surprised and relieved. As if she'd been waiting for someone, anyone, to understand that the armor she wore didn't make her unbreakable. I shouldn't complain, she said after a pause. Other soldiers have it worse. Longer deployments. Harder missions. Daniel frowned faintly. Pain isn't a competition. Maya inhaled sharply, like the words hit her somewhere raw. Tell that to the people who say I should have been prepared. That I should have known better than to have a baby while enlisted. Her throat tightened around the last words. Daniel didn't miss it. People said things like that, he asked quietly. Maya let out a hollow laugh. People said things without saying them. Her eyes drifted downward. Sometimes silence hurts more than words. Daniel knew that truth. People rarely said things to his face after his wife died. But their whispers, their pitying looks, their quiet doubts, they said plenty. You didn't do anything wrong, he said firmly. You brought a life into the world. That's not weakness. Maya's fingers trembled as she adjusted the baby. She didn't cry, didn't break, but something inside her cracked a little deeper, a quiet fracture that echoed in the stillness. I didn't plan this, she whispered. I was in the middle of training, I had goals, I had everything mapped out. And then suddenly, he happened. She looked at her son, and the next words came out in a breathless, fragile confession, and I love him. More than anything. But I don't know what I'm doing. Daniel leaned forward, elbows on his knees. No one knows what they're doing. She looked up sharply, like she thought he was lying. He wasn't. I read every book, Daniel continued. Took every class. Watched every video. And the first night home alone with my daughter, I still cried because I was convinced I was going to ruin her life just by breathing wrong. Maya's lips parted. You? Really? Yes, he said without hesitation. Really? A tiny, disbelieving laugh slipped out of her. I thought I was the only one who felt like that, she murmured. Everyone does, Daniel replied. We just don't talk about it. Especially not parents who are supposed to be strong all the time. She let that sink in, and for the first time since she walked into the hallway, her posture softened fully. Not from exhaustion, not from survival, but from trust. Her shoulders unclenched. Her breathing steadied. Her grip on her son eased into something more peaceful. Daniel watched the transformation, subtle but profound. Maya brushed a thumb over the baby's cheek, voice barely above a whisper. He's the only good part of my life right now. Daniel hesitated, choosing his next words with care. He's a good reason to keep fighting. But he shouldn't be the only one. She looked up at him, eyes shining, not with fresh tears but with something that looked eerily close to hope she hadn't allowed herself to feel in a long time. Maybe, she said quietly, if I can just make it through one more day. You don't have to make it through a whole day, Daniel interrupted gently. Just make it through this hour. Then the next. One at a time. Her lips quivered, just barely. And straightening her back slightly, she nodded. 1 hour at a time, she repeated, as if anchoring herself to the words. That's how I survived, Daniel said. That's how you will too. Maya looked down at her son again. And this time, when she exhaled, it wasn't shaky. It wasn't heavy, it was steady, finally steady. You're a good man, Daniel, she murmured softly. He looked down, embarrassed. Compliments felt foreign. But something warm settled in his chest. I'm just someone who's been through it, he replied quietly. You're not alone in this. She met his eyes again. Calm. Grateful. Maybe even stronger than before, I think, she said slowly. This is the first morning in months where I don't feel like I'm drowning. Daniel's chest tightened, not with pain, but with something gentler, deeper. I'm glad, he said. The baby stirred faintly, stretching tiny arms, sighing in his sleep. Maya instinctively cradled him closer, her movements softer now. More confident, and Daniel realized something for the first time since she walked in. Maya didn't look like a soldier cracking under pressure, she looked like a mother. A tired, overwhelmed, brave mother, but a mother still standing. The hallway warmed. The sun rose higher. Life began to return to the building, but for this pocket of morning, this quiet, unexpected moment, two strangers mended each other in small, invisible ways. Maya steadied herself, Daniel breathed easier, and neither understood yet just how deeply their lives had already begun to intertwine. Abe Chahain Tomain is seen Ka 5 AI photo prompt Subby Dadoon.